Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. Today I'm hoping to tick off one of the items on my 2023 list of things to do, and that's by installing a swivel pipe. At the moment I've got water flowing to a gully instead of along my swale to the dam. So installing a swivel pipe will give me more control over the water flows and I can direct it either way. So the first thing we've got to do is uncover the pipe that opens up down here somewhere and shoots the water through to the gully. Now I've mentioned this a number of times on my videos, but when my swales were dug, the pipe from the water tank that went through to the gully, which is beyond the berm over there, was broken, which was great because the water from the overflow feeds into the swale, then along the swale to the dam, which you can see over there in the distance. And to start with, the pipe that opens up down here, it was blocked, so it didn't drain any water from the swales, so the swales could function as I had designed. But as time went by, the pipe slowly cleared. Then the water was allowed to filter through and back down to the gully, where it actually drops down into a big hole and feeds a little spring that I utilised when I was putting in my olive trees, which are down the hill there, and I was able to create some mini swales that have helped get those little trees established. With the water feeding through from the swale, it's created quite a large hole here, which we'll have to fill in, and I think I'll fill it in with organic material. And this will just create a nice fertile little spot in the pasture, which when I do let the water through, it shouldn't further erode that hole, but should just create some really nice soil. If we head down the gully, I'll show you how my little trees are going. By changing the water flow from the swale, it will change the amount of water that flows through to these little trees. But I can redirect some water still if I think they need a bit of hydration. But it was really just to get them established. And as you'll see, they're starting to grow well. Just here is the point where the spring comes out, and it just comes out during heavy rains and fills up the swale and then feeds through into the gully. And the swale was dug so it goes around there and feeds water to the trees. At the moment, the animals have just been through and have trampled the grass, so it's a bit hard to see where the actual swale is. Now here's the first of my olive trees, which has doubled in size since planting it. I planted it about 7 or 8 months ago, so that's established really well. I might just come around and mulch these trees a little bit more. Next to each of these lower olive trees, I also planted in a support species of Tagasasti in this case, which is really just to help provide some mulch, and when we finally chop that tree down, it will release nitrogen to the growing olive tree. The centre olive tree doesn't look quite as impressive, not because it didn't get water to it or got too much, but one of my cows actually escaped and ate half of that tree, so I'm fairly relieved that it's actually still growing. They also managed to have a bit of a nibble of this tree as well, but like that centre one, it's starting to get some new growth on it. Out of reach of the cows, on the other side of the fence, I've got that olive there, which is doing well, and likewise this one here. It's a bit hard to see from this point, but I've got several up right next to the road. Now that my olive trees are fairly well established, I don't mind diverting this water away from the gully and back to the dam where it was originally designed to go. First things first, we've got to find where this pipe starts. So by keeping an eye on where the overflow comes through and knowing where the outlet is, the pipe should come through the berm somewhere in this area here. So I'm just going to use my sickle and go to town on it and get some of this vegetation cleared. It hasn't taken too much brush clearing to find the spot where the water drains out. Just down here is the pipe, so we do need to dig out quite a bit so that we can get our pipe in. Now, as you can see, there was a very poor attempt to slow the flow. I just kind of put a bag over the pipe to start with, but that really didn't change things too much. I'll go and grab my shovel and we'll have a dig around and see if we can expose that pipe a bit more. So I'll get all of this out. Pretty poor attempt at blocking a pipe, and we'll get stuck into digging this out a bit more. Now, just digging along, I've got a hole here and a hole here, so I'm pretty sure that they're bush rat holes, and it seems that the pipe is fairly well buried, so maybe the water's shooting through a hole that the rats have dug. The next day, and I'm back out here. It got a bit hot yesterday, so I stopped. But it also gives you time to have a think about what you're doing, and I'm a bit concerned about digging down too much into this space. I'm just going to try and dig sort of through the boom to see if I can find this pipe. The water definitely comes out the pipe at the other end, so it is finding its way in there somehow, even though we've got the distraction of the little rat burrows. But I'm going to keep trying to find it. It's quite clayey down there, so I don't think we're going to continue digging down, but it's sort of more in and under here that I need to dig and see if I can find the pipe. I'm hoping somewhere up there there's, oh, I think that was a slug or something. You can see that there's a little rat burrow, and that's the little hole that I can find inside, and that's where the tunnel kind of leads to up through here, but I still can't find where the pipe goes. You can feel that that's all solid. The pipe's got to go through here somewhere. I just don't know where. I'll dig through here and see what that leaves us with. Once again, we're kind of up against a brick wall. That's where that went to. There is like a hole going out through here. That's probably part of the rat network, but I'll dig into it. Just trying to work out where this pipe would be coming out through my boom. You can see the white pipe of my water tank. Probably goes on this side of my almond tree, over on that side, and through here. So perhaps the pipe is kind of just here. Perhaps we've been going down a rabbit hole, or a rat hole rather, and the pipe's actually in this bit here. Maybe we found it. There's something here. Ooh, I think it's it. Yes, we've got it. We've found the broken pipe. So I've just got to dig down to that and clean it all up and get my pipe onto it. Right, we've still got to dig quite a bit above here so I can get in, chop into that and clean it up a bit. Slowly getting there. I'll have to dig out kind of right around and under. It's all, you can see the pipe's cracked from being dug through when the swale was put in, but it looks okay kind of that back to that point there. So I think I'll need to at least get to there. So I'll have to dig out kind of that bit there, I reckon. And yeah, slowly getting there, but I think I have to clear more around the top there so that I can actually cut. I've got to cut that pipe through there. So I've got to be able to get in and do that. So I've got to clear a bit more of that back wall up here. So now I've got to try and cut this right through here. So now I've just got to check if I've got the right stuff for it. I got this elbow a while ago, thinking I'd guess right, but it's way too big. So the pipe I've got for it will be too big too. So it looks like there's a trip to the plumbing store. Before we get to the plumbing store, I'm just going to assess the position within the swale that this little hole finds itself. It's right off to the side actually. My original thought was that I could just put an elbow on this and a pipe up here which could form the swivel, but this is a lot further into the berm than I had anticipated. So I'm going to have to dig out into the swale a bit more, probably having to remove this reed here, and then put my elbow and pipe up here so I can swivel it in the main flow of water during those heavy rain events. Well, it's day 3 and I've been to town and grabbed my plumbing supplies, so hopefully I've got everything I need now. We're going to start by digging out the little trench to pop the longer pipe in, but I think I'm going to have to move this reed to start with. Hopefully I'll be able to leave that second reed in place, but we're going to get going with this one. I'll start by trying with my fork, but I've got a mattock and my shovel. We'll just see what works. The soil in there is pretty solid. What I might do is cut out a lot of this vegetation to start with, and then I might be able to go at it a bit easier. Well, that should be easier to get to now. It's going to be pretty hard to dig this thing out, but it's going to be right in the way. So we want the pipe to come straight through here, and I think my upright's going to be just on the other side of this reed. Should be able to plant that back in again, I reckon. So, just got to dig a trench now. We're getting there. Okay, hopefully we're there now. All right, that's perfect. I've got a joiner for that end and I've got the elbow for this end. We've got to glue the pipe all the way around, so I'm going to clear some more area under that pipe so I can get that glue in and around it. That should give us enough access, I think. Okay, so I'm no plumber, but I've read the instructions, so hopefully we can do this okay. We're just going to clean the inside of this. All right, that's that done. And I'll do this bit too. And now I'm just going to cover all of that inside with the cement. Okie dokie. And a bit on here. Right around. And I'll shove this on. Up to halfway, and then I'll get my pipe done. Shove that on there. Okay. Okie dokie. So while that one is drying, I'm going to get the swivelly bit ready. So I just need to stick that onto the bottom. Now this doesn't have to glue onto the other pipe because that is the swivel part. So we just need to glue it onto the end here. So once again, I'm just going to clean it with this primer and get the glue onto it. Alrighty. Okay, and we're just going to let both of those dry for 5 minutes or so, and we'll bury it all in. That just goes onto the end here. I'm going to leave this pipe quite long to start with because I can always take it off, and then when we do get a rain event, I'll just check it out and check what level I think it will need to be at. It might need to be kind of around here, and just do it right then rather than get it wrong at this point. Time to fill in the hole, I think. Just gonna plonk the reed back on top there and bury that and see if it takes off again. Oh, it's a bit hard with all these grasses and reeds mixed in with this soil. Well, that's as good as it's going to get. It was pretty challenging getting all the soil off the grass and back into the hole. If I was doing this sort of thing again, I'll definitely get a tarp down, which would make getting all this soil back where it needs to be a lot easier. And I've got the reed in there. I'm just going to mulch around all this exposed soil, and it'll be a while till we get a big rain event, so it should have settled down and hopefully grown some grasses before then. I will need to cut some more grass to finish this off, but for the moment I'm just going to test out the pipe and see how we go. Now, because that pipe is sort of an angle down, it slopes down, this, of course, at right angle will be sort of sloping a little bit, but that's how it's going to sit. I anticipate probably cutting it down to maybe this point here down the track, but I'm going to see how it goes first. I will secure it with some bricks and stones in this spot so that it doesn't get moved around too much with the water coming through, although the water gently does flow through this area. But I'll just make sure that we've got stones and rocks around here just to keep this area clear. But we should be able to swivel. Now, if the water's, you can just put it sort of fully down like that and it will get the flow of the water and direct water down to my gully. Say, for instance, I want to water my olive trees, I can do that. Or if we've got a really catastrophic heavy rainfall, I'll be able to shoot water down there and also to the dam. So I'm pretty pleased with this. It's been on my list, well, it's been on my list of things to do for at least a year. And down the track, I might just paint this green so it disappears into the environment a bit better. Well, we've got that bit done, but not quite finished yet. I've still got to deal with the hole over in the gully. So just before we call this project done, I've got to fill in this hole. It's a bit dangerous for both myself and my livestock. The grass is often up to here and you can't identify where it is. And it does go down, you know, quite deep. So we need to fill it in. I'm going to pack it with some bits of firewood that I've got and then jam some grasses in on top of it. I might grab some smaller branches as well as some grasses. I'm just going to jam all this down there as well. If I do direct some water down to the gully through this pipe, it will still go into that hole. It will just cause less erosion, but it's a lot safer for myself and my animals. Well, that's one thing ticked off my 2023 list, so made a start at least. I will be showing you how this works, but we'll have to wait for a heavy rain event, which mightn't be until sort of May or June. It's usually fairly dry for the next few months here, but it's good to get that in and ready for when that happens. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching and bye for now.